السلام عليكم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. السلام عليكم. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما. The second part on this sensitive topic of menstruation. Before starting, let's just, first of all, it's hard to speak about these topics, but Aisha radiallahu anha said some very revealing words. She says, نعم النساء نساء الأنصار لم يمنعهن الحياء أن يتفقهن في الدين. She praised the women of Al-Ansar, the women in Medina, because their shyness, irrespective of the sensitivity of the topic, it did not restrain them from asking and learning. So it's a very highly recommendable, and as we have said in the first part, it's not a topic that should be mastered just by women. It's a topic which should be mastered by everybody, including men. Even though it's an issue, or it's a topic that is relevant to women. So in this second part, first of all, in the last thing that we've spoken about in the last part, the first part is the youngest age, like the youngest. What's the age of puberty for a woman? When does her menstruation start? And the oldest age where a woman can have a period. In this part, we will speak about the shortest amount, the shortest period of menstruation. So the shortest menstrual period in the mashhur, in the very popular opinion of the Maliki school, is duf'atun aw dufqa. Duf'atun aw dufqa. So it's the mere gushing, or the mere gushing or flow of blood in a woman. So it could be like just a little bit for 1 hour or half an hour or so. But this pertains to al-ibadats. So as long as it is for al-ibadats, then it is the minimal part. The scholars who have spoken, Imam al-Dardir, in his book Aqrab al-Masalik, he simply said أقله أو أقل الحيض في العبادة. So it pertains to al-ibadah. هي دفعة. It's just a little bit of blood. And also in the book of Imam Abdul Wahhab, Al-Qadi Abdul Wahhab Al-Maliki, he says أقل الحيض والنفاس لا حد له. There's no limit. It could be very, very small, very short amount of time. But he says وأما أقله في العدة والاستبراء هو أن يستمر يوما أو بعض يوم. What pertains to the ibadah, it's a very short splurt, gushing of the blood. But when it pertains to al-'ada, al-'udda or al-'idda wal-istibra', then it has to be at least 1 day or part of a day, so a few hours or half a day or a little bit more, at least 1 day and some part of the day. What is al-'idda wal-istibra'? It's when a woman, there's a divorce between the man and the woman, or when the husband dies, then there is a certain amount of time that a woman should observe to make sure that she's not pregnant. That is al-istibra'. She's making sure. And for the first case, it's 3 months, and for the second case, three cycles, or 3 months, and the second one is 4 months and 10 days. So these are the minimal amounts of time that a woman can have a menstruation. As for the highest or the longest time of al-hayd, al-hayd, is 15 days. Okay, and this is also the mashhur in all the schools. And the proof of that, the proof for the first one, the proof for the fact that it's only a little moment, it's the verse from the Quran, which is وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْمَحِيضِ قُلْ هُوَ أَذًى. It's a very, very simple, short verse, and it's taken literally right from its meaning. And the meaning of it is, they ask you about menstruation. Say it is an impurity. This is in the Quran. Of course, هي أذى, the word أذى, impurity, can mean many things. Can mean impurity, yes, hurt, discomfort, irregular blood. Not irregular, because al-hayd, menstruation, is a natural thing that occurs in the body of a woman. So it's regular blood. Impurity, maybe hurt, all of them together is adha. So if it happens, then it is haid. Now the second part, which we would have just started, is if it's what is the maximum? The maximum is 15 days, and that is also found in in all of the books of the Maliki. The mashhur is that it is 15 days, and I think everyone agrees with this. Now this state of the maximum of 15 days has different situations and conditions, or if you want to call them categories, and they are as follows. The first one is al-mubtada'a, the woman who starts, the woman who begins her puber life. She will have so that's the one category. The second one is al-mu'tada, which is the majority of a woman's life, where she lives a long, healthy life. Al-mu'tada is the one who is regular in her menstrual period. The third one is al-hamil, the one who's pregnant. And the fourth one is al-mulaffaqa. Al-mulaffaqa is the one who's normally intermittent in her blood. So she may have blood for 1 or 2 or 3 days, and then it breaks and it starts again for 1 or 2 or 3 or more, whatever the case it is. So the maximum amount is 15. The maximum amount is 15. And beyond the 15 or beyond that maximum, we will speak about that in a minute, is called damu illatin wa fasad. So if it continues before that period of time, it becomes known as irregular, and you may call it medical or abnormal or whatever. So it's not the normal, regular blood flow that a woman has in her period. So for the first one, al-mubtada'a, if the person has started, it's whatever amount of days. So if she has a period of 7 days, that's her regular time. If she has a period of 8 or 4 or 3, that just, so the first period is her regular period for her. If she starts and her period is over 15 days, then she should not. Her period is 15 days. Let's say her first period has a number of 25. All of a sudden, she starts her menses, and her first month she has 25 days of blood. Then her maximum amount of blood is 15 days. So it's no more than 15 days. Al-Mu'tada, the one who's regular, the person who is regular, let's say her regular period is 7 days. That's going to be her regular every month. But then all of a sudden, the second month, a month comes and she has more than 7 days, maybe 15, 20, 30. She has to stop after 3 days on top of her regular. So if her regular is 7, she adds 30. She adds 3, and the rest is istihava. Those 3 days are called istidhar. Those 3 days, additional days upon her regular, is called istidhar, which is observing above the regular. So I'm not going to observe any more than 3 to add upon the regular days of al-istidhar, of the regular period. So if the month after that she has also a long period of blood, she only adds 3. So 7 for the first month, 3 additional of 3 for the second month, and an additional 3 for the third month. So she's now at 13. If this continues on that other month, she only adds 2, because 15 is the maximum. So 7, 10, 13, and then 15, that becomes her maximum. And whatever is beyond the 15, or whatever is beyond those additional 3 days, is called istihava. So it's not haid, it's not menstrual period, it's called istihava. Istihava is something which is irregular. So every time your period is done, so you have to go and wash, and then now you can do everything that you've been able to do before, which is praying, salah, sawm, tawaf, sexual intercourse with the spouse, and obviously, as you may know, when a woman has her period, she does not pray, but also she does not make up her salah, but she does not fast, but she does make up her fasting. So Um, that's the istidhar and so on. And the dalil for that, the proof for what we've just mentioned here, the istidhar, wal istihada and so on, is what the Prophet ﷺ told Fatima bint Abi Hubaysh when she asked him about this. He told her, اقعدي أيامك التي كنت تقعدين واستظهري بثلاثة أيام ثم اغتسلي وصم. He told her sallallahu alayhi wasallam, do whatever is your regular time. اقعدي أيامك الذي كنت تقعدين, and then do istidhar and then observe the additional 3 days with بثلاثة ثلاث أيام. And when that's done, let's say 4 plus 3 or 5 plus 3 or whatever, then when that's done, when that period is done, اغتسلي, wash, do your ghusl, okay, your ritual of ghusl, and then start doing the siyam. So what about if this person who is mu'tada, who's regular in having 7 and 8 or 9 days or 5 days, all of a sudden she does less, like her period becomes 3 or 4, then she stops at 3 or 4, okay? So there's no other reciprocal process. The process here is only for the additional process. The third condition or category is the woman who is pregnant, and the scholars, all the books of fiqh, they say that it's highly improbable. It's not. A woman who's pregnant will not have blood, but it's highly conceivable. It's not inconceivable that a woman who's pregnant to have blood, which is menses, and this has been the differences of opinion between the scholars. So in the Malikiyah, and I think in the Shafi'iyah, we believe that a woman will, or whenever she has blood, her blood is the blood of menstruation, and that is the mashhur. So it is the healthy blood, and she has to observe this regular addition of al-istidhar between the first and the second month. She does exactly the same thing as we have described before. She does do this istidhar. What has been a difference of opinion between the Maliki, and I've read this in the book of Imam al-Dardir. He said the interpretation of al-Dardir, which is Imam al-Sawi, he says the author does not say whether it should be 15 or more. So a woman can do istidhar until she reaches 15, and Imam al-Sawi said probably 20. But what they have agreed upon is beyond those 2 months. So she does the same thing for the first 2 months, exactly the same thing for the first 2 months as the woman who is regular. And then after the first 2 months, the third, the fourth, and the fifth, and the sixth, between like after the second to the 6th month, she does 20 days but without istidhar. So if on the 3rd month all of a sudden she has 25 days of blood, the first 20 is hayd and the rest is istihada, and she washes and she does whatever she usually does. That's the difference between the first 2 months and the following months. On the 7th month, the 7th, the 8th, and the 9th, the maximum amount of days becomes 30. Okay. Now the other difference here between the regular and the pregnant woman is that it's likely as well that this woman who is pregnant may have intermittent gushes of blood. So she may be in her menses for 2 or 3 days. She may be tahir for 1 or 2 days and go back and do that. So she counts. She adds them up, and then she counts them. She follows the maximum for those additional days. And then of course there are differences of opinion, and at that point we can ask questions. We can go to the scholar women's ladies, fuqaha, faqihat, who can give you the differences of opinion and how to come up with the solutions to counting that. What's the ruling for these differences? This hayd, this menses for the pregnant woman, is what we have found in Al-Muwatta, أنه بلغه, okay, Imam Malik بلغه, and the balaghat here, without going into the science of hadith, the balaghat in Al-Muwatta is authentic. So Aisha radiallahu anha told a woman, Aisha, the mother of the believers, the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, told the woman, she said that the woman, al-mar'atul hamilu, the woman who is pregnant, when she sees blood, tada'u salah. So she says if a woman who is pregnant sees blood, she does not pray. In other words, this is her opinion, her strong opinion, that a woman who sees blood, she's in a state of menstruation. Okay, and this is also the second proof is the ijma', the consensus of the people of Medina. Okay, the people of Medina and so on. The fourth category is the woman who is al-mulaffaqa al-mutakhallita. Al-mulaffaqa is a different category by itself. It's a woman who goes through the stages, like in her normal, in her own, she's not pregnant, she's not a beginner, but in her life, in her normal life, she doesn't have a regular continuum of her period. So it comes in like for 1 or 2 days, then it goes and it comes back for 3 days and comes back for half a day and so on. So that person adds those days. That's very simple as that. She keeps adding those days until she reaches her maximum number of days for her regular period. And I think this is all for now as a simplified coverage of this topic. Jazakumullah khair wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa salam alaikum.